my fellow wizards, if you've spent any amount of time watching my videos, you probably already know that you can get a ton of interesting rare items by fishing for chests, from bundle wands and gear to pets and permanent mounts. But did you also know that you can even get exclusive crowns wands from retired packs and gauntlets as well? Yep, you can still get a ton of wands that are otherwise unattainable with just a bit of patience and the right fishing spells on hand. So now's the perfect time to earn that Exalted Angler badge and fish up some amazing treasures. Here are the top 13 crowns wands you can get from fishing. Alright, before we dive into fishing up our favorite wands, you'll first need to arm yourself with the right tools. If this is your first time fishing for chests, you may want to watch my ultimate chest fishing guide, which will tell you how to get all the gear and spells you'll need to successfully fish up chests, but if not, I'll give a brief recap of some of the spells you'll want to have on hand. For fishing chests, you'll generally want the rank 1 through 3 school lures, the utility spells Charm Fish and Fish Lullaby, the Winnow school spells, and most importantly, Buoy Chest 1. At each location where you want to fish for chests, you'll then want to use Buoy Chest 1 to double your chance of chests, winnow the most prominent school of fish in the pool, charm any fish that you can't reach, and then catch the remaining fish in the pool. Rinse and repeat until you get what you want. And before we get into this list, I want to give a gentle reminder that fishing for chests can be a long process and it may take a while to get the drop you want because it's all down to RNG. So just keep trying and don't get discouraged. I believe in you. Alright, let's start things off with the 3 Greenwarden Staffs originally from the Wyvern's Hoard pack. The pack does return to the Crown Shop occasionally for special sales, but was otherwise removed back in 2019, and your only other option to get these wands are as rare drops from farming some of the bosses in the 5 Boxes event, which is only available a few times a year. These wands look largely identical, with a wooden staff base with a vine-like tendril wrapping around the upper half and leaves sprouting from the top, though each glows a different color. I think these honestly could go really well with a life or nature-themed stitch, but the different colors give you a lot of options. These staffs do not, unfortunately, have a unique wand animation, but use the standard staff animation. Focusing first on the Brilliant Staff, this wand has a purple glow to it, gives ice wand hits, and can be fished for in Cyclops Lane in Wizard City and the Necropolis in Dragonspyre. And I definitely recommend the pond in Cyclops Lane here, where it's nice and easy to access everything compared to, you know, the freaking lava pits. Seriously though, do yourself a favor and avoid the Necropolis because it's just harder to actually reach the fish here and you're just gonna have a bad time. For Cyclops Lane, I recommend focusing on balance, death, myth, or ice fish as they are all equally plentiful, and if you ignore my advice and go to the Necropolis, you'll want to head to the lava river near the Drake Hatchery entrance and be ready to banish some sentinels and winnow fire or death fish. Moving on to the Greenwarden's Energetic Staff, this one glows a pretty green color, gives life wand hits, and can only be fished for in Ravenwood. You'll want to head over to the right and fish in the pools that run between Torrance and Kelvin and behind the School of Storm. Balance and ice fish tend to be the most common here, so I recommend winnowing balance or ice and catching the rest from there. Finally is the Greenwarden's Peaceful Staff, which gives a minor blessing item card, glows gold, and can be found in 4 locations: Castle Darkmoor, the Entrance Hall in Krakatopia, Kembalong Village, and the Grand Chasm. And from these choices, I definitely recommend either Castle Darkmoor or the Entrance Hall over the other 2. You can enter the water in Castle Darkmoor so you can more easily catch fish, and the Entrance Hall has relatively small pools which can be easily reached with any lures. Kembalong Village has ice that is harder to maneuver around on and you can't enter the water itself, and the Grand Chasm has a similar problem with its inaccessible lava pits. At Castle Darkmoor, deathfish tend to be the most plentiful, so you want to use spells like Winnow Deathfish and Death Lures. The Entrance Hall has a pretty equal mixture of life, death, and balance, depending on which of the 2 pools you focus on. Kembalong Village has mostly ice, myth, and balance fish, and the Grand Chasm has mostly balance and fire fish. Up next are a whopping 6 wands, which are all originally from the retired Raven's Hoard pack, though a few are also available from the Yuletide pack during Christmas time and as drops from the retired Winterbane Gauntlet. Some of these also drop from the Skeleton Key boss Krampus, who you can also fight during the Christmas holidays, but that's unfortunately only once a year unless KI brings back the Christmas in July event. So to start, let's focus on the 3 axe wands from this pack. Each axe is level 20 plus and can be fished for in different areas of Grizzleheim. They are largely identical, with a long metal handle leading to a large curved axe head, and each glow a slightly different color. Honestly, these could go well with any type of battle mage, knight, or even barbarian style stitch because they honestly just look really badass. Staying on theme, these axes have an epic unique wand animation where you overhead chuck your axe at the enemy to hit them. Beginning with the Great Axe of the Storyteller, it glows a light blue color with golden particle effects, gives a Legion Shield item card along with ice wand hits, and can only be fished for in Saverstead Pass. This area has a large fishing pool, but it can be frustrating to access because you can't actually go all the way into the water, even though it really looks like you should be able to.
Let me in! Let me in!
So you may need to rely on spells like Charm Fish to get the fish close enough to actually catch, and the fish here are mostly balance, death, and fire. Up next is the Unkind Axe of Winter, which has a red glow to it and golden particle effects, gives a Tower Shield item card and ice wand hits, and can only be fished for in Northgard. Thankfully, Northgard has several large pools, including the one behind the main fortress, which stretches around to the right with the waterfalls, as well as a lower left one just behind Nick Jonas, who is somehow still rocking out all these years later. We must protect him until we die. You can easily just walk right into these fishing pools to catch everything, which is nice, and the fish to focus on are generally going to be fire, life, or death. Finally is the Winter's Whispering Axe, which has a purple glow and gold particle effects, gives a frozen armor item card along with ice wand hits, and can be fished for in both Northgard or Merkholm Keep. If you're interested in getting multiple pieces, definitely fish in Northgard since there are other wands that also drop there anyway, but Merkholm Keep does have a pretty nice fishing area as well. You'll want to take the teleport stone into Grendel Grotto and head to your immediate left where you'll see a large pool which you can walk directly into for easy fishing. Here you'll generally want to focus on isolating down to the plentiful death fish, but if you stick with Northgard, you'll want to focus on fire, life, or death fish as mentioned before. That's it for the axes, but now we can focus on two interesting bow wands you can also get in Grizzleheim. The Raven's Bow of Unkind Winter is level 20 plus when you fish it up and gives a stun block item card along with ice wand hits. The base part of the bow is a beautiful silver color with these really nice gold and sapphire accents that could go nicely with so many different stitches, and conveniently, this one can also be fished for right in Northgard, along with two of the axe wands if you're into collecting them all. As mentioned, you'll want to focus on fire, life, or death fish here. It also does have a unique wand animation where you take several shots at your enemy when using a wand hit, which is neat. Your second bow option is the level 20 plus Trickster's Lying Bow, which actually gives you two Ice Blade item cards along with ice wand hits, which is actually really nice because these item card blades will stack with your regular blades, and Bartleby knows low level ice could use some more damage. The wand has a pretty blue base color along with a darker blue grip and golden accents along the edges, which I could see working well for an ice or myth stitch, and while I unfortunately don't have this wand to showcase, I believe it has the same unique wand animation as the Raven's Bow of Unkind Winter. This bow can only be fished for in Nordrland, so you'll want to be a high enough level to access Wintertusk first, but once there you can head to the lava streams in the northwestern part of the area and fish there. Here the most common fish are Fire and Death School, so focus on them. Finally, from the Raven's Hoard pack is the gorgeous level 30 plus Nevermore Talon with its curved blade, gold accents, and blue-green jewels along with a glowing effect. Unfortunately, I don't have this wand yet, so I'm not sure if there's a unique animation, but maybe one of you in the comments can let me know for sure. This wand gives several freeze item cards as well as ice wand hits and can be fished for in Northgard and Greenwarden. Honestly, Northgard is such a popular spot for these wand drops, you may just want to plant yourself there and just keep focusing on the fire, life, and death fish, but if you want to venture into Greenwarden, you'll want to head into the chamber immediately to the left of the entrance after defeating the mandatory Ruined Annihilator boss. This side room contains the Wild Kraken boss. Thankfully, you can avoid him and just head straight into the water where the most common fish are death and fire. Now, however, it's time to focus on two very special wands from a different pack entirely, the retired Kirin's Hoard pack. Now, the Chiming Blade and 4 Bells Ringing wands can also drop from the boss Kaizoku in the Midnight Sun Pagoda Gauntlet, but you need to buy the gauntlet or have a friend who owns it to access it currently, although with the new Portal of Peril Spring update, that may thankfully change. The 4 Bells Ringing wand specifically can also be gotten from the Yuletide pack, but that's only available a few times a year. These wands are both level 30 plus when fished for and have a really cool design with an enormous curved blade, which kind of reminds me of Cloud's Buster Sword from Final Fantasy, and that it's as big as your freaking character model. They each have a different colored grip, red and purple respectively, along with a gorgeous glowing energy effect which sort of swirls around the grip and up to envelop the blade of the sword. It just looks very epic and could honestly go with so many stitches, though obviously the red and purple go especially with a fire or storm outfit. It also does have a unique wand animation where you throw the sword overhead at your enemies, similar to the axe wands from earlier. Focusing on the red Chiming Blade, this wand comes with a Spirit Diffuse item card and balance wand hits and can be fished for throughout Mooshu, in the Ancient Burial Grounds, Jade Palace, and Kashibe Village. In the ancient burial grounds, you'll want to head to this bridge over a small pond nearest the butterfly teleport where the most common fish are Death and Storm. In Kashibe Village, you can head for the river flowing right near the central teleport hub or the bridge overlooking a small pond near another butterfly teleport. Here the common fish are life or stormfish, so you can take your pick. However, I definitely recommend going with the Jade Palace as your fishing spot because the fish in both the ancient burial grounds and Kashibe Village locations can be difficult to reach because you can't actually enter the water, so you'll be relying heavily on spells like Charm Fish to actually catch everything. In the Jade Palace, by comparison, there's the central pool as well as a secondary pool near the entrance to the Shoshin village, and both can be entered to easily fish up everything. The most common fish here are fire and storm, so you can choose which one you'd rather focus on with your winnow spells. As an added bonus, the Jade Palace is also a fishing location for our second wand, the 4 bells ringing, which may just speed the process of getting both wands up if you're a collector. 4 bells ringing, which comes with an elemental diffuse and balance wand hits, can also be found in Kashibe Village, as mentioned earlier, as well as Tadake Outpost and the Tree of Life. If you want to head to Tadake Outpost, there's a bridge with a small pond underneath near the central teleport hub, with fish here being primarily storm and ice, although it can be hard to reach everything with your lures. Thankfully, the Tree of Life has a much more accessible pool near the central tree, although you can also fish off a bridge near the Green Shrine teleport. Here, the most common fish are Myth and Storm. We are really starting to get into the meat of things now, people. Next up is the Dragonrider Ice Blade, originally from the Dragon's Hoard pack, which was retired all the way back in 2013. Besides fishing, your main other option for getting this wand is participating in the Lost Pages event, where certain bosses have a very low chance to drop the wand, and the event only runs a few times a year. The wand itself is totally badass since it looks like a huge greatsword, like something straight out of an epic knight's tale, and it has this very cool black swirling effect along with some blue sparkles for the ice wand. The wand gives ice wand hits, but no other item cards, and has a unique wand animation with you throwing the sword overhead at your enemy, just like the Axe and Kirin's Hoard pack wands. We're actually returning to Cyclops Lane to fish this one up, as well as the commons of Wizard City. As a reminder, you can also fish for the Greenwarden's Brilliant Staff in Cyclops Lane if you're in the collecting mood. Most fish tend to be balance, myth, ice, or death, so take your pick. If you'd rather focus on the commons, you can go to the central pool, which tends to have fire, ice, and balance fish, or you can head over to the smaller pool right next to the entrance to the pet pavilion, where all the fish generally tend to be ice, for an easier time narrowing down the pool without the need for winnow spells. Both locations are easily accessible, but you may prefer Cyclops Lane just because the commons tends to attract some rather interesting folks. Yeah. Alright, we are finally at our lucky number 13 wand, and in my opinion, one of the coolest looking gear pieces on this list, the Abyssal Eel Whip. Now this wand is actually from a gauntlet rather than a pack, and could originally be gotten from the Fantastic Voyage Gauntlet. Now this one can be a little trickier to access because you do need to be friends with someone with the gauntlet to enter it, but hopefully this won't be the case for much longer after the Portal of Peril rotating gauntlet event gets up and running. Though it may take some extra effort to access, I think the wand itself is well worth the effort. The Abyssal Eel Whip is literally a whip made from an eel, which is pretty metal, and you can see the eel head is gripping the end of the handle your character holds, with the eel's tail acting as the other end of the whip. It also has this spooky ethereal green glow to it that could be perfect for a life or even a death stitch, and the animation is unique as well, with you spinning around to whip your enemies into submission. You know, if you're into that. It also gives 2 different types of wand hits, storm and ice, to pick from. Now, in order to get access to the fishing pool, you'll need to complete the gauntlet first, but you'll then get an amazing 33% fishing luck elixir, which lasts an hour, and access to a small fishing pool, which includes the unique microfish, which can only be fished for from this gauntlet, which is neat. The most common fish here tend to be storm, and along with the chance to fish up your very own Abyssal Eel Whip, there's also a chance that fishing chests here may contain other gear pieces too, so you may just be able to fish up the whole set for stitching, which is great. I love having access to alternative ways to get gear without having to pay the full price for the gauntlet, even if it can take a while. Alright, my fellow wizards, those are the top 13 different crowns wands you can fish for in Wizard101. Let me know which wands from this list are your favorite and what other crazy stuff you've managed to fish up. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and as always, I hope to see you out there in the spiral, and happy questing.